Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are very glad to have Jeanette Stewart, founder and president of Translation Commons, here with us today. Jeanette, can you tell us a few words about Translation Commons?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm honored to be part of your Lessons Learned podcast, and I'm happy to share a lot about Translation Commons. So we're a community sharing a vision for all languages to be able to be supported by digital systems. And our mission is to create a roadmap and a lot of resources to enable all languages in the world to have equal digital capability, which means that to get as many languages online as possible.
Wow, that's a big mission, vision, and undertaking. So what has changed for you during COVID? What has changed for Translation Commons?
Well, the very first thing that changed was that our community became a lot more closely knit, and we started supporting each other and depending on each other. Our community has grown a lot because we are volunteers. It was a call for action for all of us to get together and share what was going on into the world. And consequently, we have a much stronger working ethic right now of how to get our community to be better, how to include a lot more languages, and reach out to all those indigenous communities and under-resourced languages that don't have the same digital capability and the ability to have information about COVID-19, how to prevent the virus spreading, and all the information from the main sources with accurate information, as opposed to the misinformation which unfortunately exists in social media. So we got together and we saw this community building in a huge and wonderful way.
And so how did you reach out to, how many languages does the world speak today? And how did you reach out to all of the speakers?
There are about 7,000 languages, and from these languages, a lot of them have multiple dialects. So if we were to count various dialects altogether, we're reaching a huge number of 12,000 dialects. And of these languages, there are a few that are ancient languages, but some of these ancient languages do have revival. Of all the languages, mostly all the 8 billion people in the world will speak some of the major 200, 300 languages, because there are certain dominant languages in various regions. But there are a lot of languages that are widely spoken by many communities around the world, what we call diaspora, meaning that they have left their original country, but they're elsewhere, and they speak this language. And there are millions of people who speak languages that have no digital capability at all right now.
So what did Translation Commons create? How did you reach out to all of the people?
So we reached out by realizing that we needed to share information, and we created a poster maker, which would enable a lot of the languages to create their own poster, but also to have some pre-populated words there so they would have the gist. To do this, we partnered with Panlex. Panlex is another nonprofit which has lexical data in 6,000 plus languages. And the application that they have created enables any user that goes onto our website page to put their language in from a scroll down menu. And then this pre-populates a poster with 5 main instructions that we took from the World Health Organization, which is wash your hands, don't touch your face, cough in your elbow, keep distance, and stay home, which are the very basic information that we wanted to reach every single corner in the world. And the Panlex lexical data is able to put words that are available in their database and pre-populate that. In response, the communities come in and they actually create the full translation for these 5 sentences. And right now we have about 250 languages, mostly indigenous languages, because this is where the need is. This is the communities that we reached out to create these posters. And the reason is because a lot of these communities don't have the digital ability. We wanted whoever from the community has a phone or a laptop and a printer, a desktop, to be able to print this poster and put it in the corner grocery shop so everybody can see it, and it's in their language. And we also catered for pictures because we thought that some people speak a language that they don't read and write it. So we thought the pictures would also help for them to understand the messages, and also to create that conversation in these communities that this is what we should be doing.
So it's amazing. It's, I think, one of the first efforts to reach out to everybody at the same time globally. I don't know if it has been done before, at least, the whole world got affected, and it was a grand scale, and everything stopped all of a sudden pretty much at the same time. So what are the interesting challenges that you faced during the process?
Of course, creating a poster means that, somebody has the ability to print it. So we had to be very careful about, the printing capabilities in various regions of the world. But we started having feedback from many communities. For example, one community in Argentina told us that they don't even have water to wash your hands. So us, saying to them, wash your hands, doesn't mean anything to them because they can't. So of course, we can't solve that problem, with a poster. That is a problem that needs to be solved differently. But nonetheless, we also got feedback from a lot of communities saying that because they speak the language and they don't read it. For example, we have the Fulani language, which is spoken by 60 million people in Africa, and it's spoken over 30 countries, but only 20 million of the 60 million speakers are able to read and write it. So we have 40 million people speaking a language which they don't read and write. So immediately we thought that we can do the next iteration of the poster that would have the audio. So we're now developing the software to be able to take on the audio from these communities and save it and store it. And it's going to be right next to the poster and each icon, so people then can hear it. And we're also hoping that radio stations in areas like Salinas, for example, that have a lot of, Mesoamerican communities who speak languages that they do not read and write, they would take a series of these languages, audios, and just repeat the message in various languages. So we hope to reach all those people that the poster couldn't reach.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I understand that it is also now part of the UNESCO's outreach. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, thanks for reminding me this. Translation Commons became a social civil society partner to the International Year of Indigenous Languages in 2019. And we worked with UNESCO all through the year and still are working with them to help spread the message about Indigenous languages, because for us, it was always the equality, the digital equality of all the languages. And when COVID-19 happened, UNESCO started creating a resource page for all the multilingual resources for COVID-19. And we were one of the first resources that, of course, other than their own UN and UNESCO resources, that they have added. And we are there on their website now, so people can actually see an effort to reach all the under-resourced and languages in all the regions of the world is actually something that can be done. So we should be putting a lot more effort because the International Decade of Indigenous Languages is starting in 2022, and we're working together towards creating an action plan for that.
So what I'm hearing is that the emphasis changed from just raising awareness about under-resourced languages to suddenly needing to communicate almost simultaneously into all of these languages at the same time. So this is an unprecedented and amazing project that Translation Commons is working on. And I wanted to ask you, in addition to the poster, are you working on anything else to try to communicate to the communities?
Yes, we are. It is a different project altogether. We have partnered with another organization, which is called Open Source Medical Supplies Organization. It is a very new organization. It came out of the makers community. Makers are people that do a lot of fabrication on their own, and it's a movement which is global. And when COVID-19 happened in March, they realized straight away that we're going to run out of medical supplies, from the very simple of gloves, masks, and protective gear, all the way to ventilators and other medical devices and supplies for hospitals. So what they did is they came together as an organization. They were supported by, other nonprofits, and they started creating instructions for how to create medical supplies and pushing these and letting the makers communities in various countries know about it. But the problem, of course, was that all these instructions on how to create medical supplies are in English. So we are stepping in now as a partner where we are going to project manage the translation and help all those instructions be localized, because the challenge here is that the material and the fabrication process for something in the US is going to be very different in other countries. So we truly need to localize those documents with what is available in these countries. And this is a very exciting project that we're starting now. And it is a movement, basically, because in just the 2 months that it exists as an organization, it has something like 80,000 people that are involved in it around the world.
Amazing, amazing. So if you were to leave our audience with the message about what are the lessons learned through all of this work, what are the lessons learned that you would like for people to know?
Well, first of all, I'd like everybody to know that under-resourced languages should be equal with the rest of us, because the people living in these communities, the speakers of these languages, should have equal digital rights, and they should have equal access to the information that the rest of us have. And today, I feel that we have managed to reach these communities and share a little bit of information with them. And opening this road is something that we want to keep on doing and help these communities be part of the general global digital community.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeanette, and thank you for joining us today.